Tonight, a former Russian government employee and alleged CIA asset on the move. Following reports he was extracted from Moscow by the Americans 2 years ago out of fear the Russians were onto him. According to the New York Times, he was the source telling the CIA Vladimir Putin had personally ordered the attack on the 2016 election. NBC's Ken Delanian.
He wasn't a Putin insider, but he was in the room with Vladimir Putin. He had access to documents. He was able to report to the CIA on Vladimir Putin's orders and his intentions and his moods. It was an incredibly valuable source, and it's a great loss that he's no longer in place.
Today, Russia confirming the man worked in the Kremlin but says he did not have direct access to Putin, calling the U.S. reports pulp fiction. The Russian foreign minister saying, "I have never seen this man, have never met him, and have never monitored his career or movements." Once in the U.S., the Russian was apparently living in plain sight, under U.S. government protection in the Washington area, where NBC News found his house and knocked on the door, but no one answered.
I get in my car and I notice an SUV screeching down the street at a high rate of speed. It stops nose to nose with my vehicle. Inside are two men. They were clearly U.S. government agents who had been alerted to my presence and rushed to the house.
No secret to the Russians.
I'm convinced after 25 years in counterintelligence, the Russian services knew exactly who this person was, knew that he had been essentially exfiltrated.
Now that he's been exposed, the man and his family have been moved to a secret location. Intelligence experts worry it will be much harder for the CIA to now recruit another Kremlin insider, making it more difficult to track Russia's efforts to interfere with the 2020 election campaign.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.